Hey, Steelers fans. We are back with another deep dive into everything happening with Pittsburgh, and today we have a lot to unpack. First off, the team has been through some interesting weeks, especially navigating the absence of DK Metcalf. Now, before anyone jumps to conclusions, let's be clear. The Steelers survived those weeks, and they found ways to adapt. Wide receivers, tight ends, running backs, and even unexpected targets stepped up in ways that reminded everyone that this team has depth, grit, and a little bit of that unpredictable magic. Aaron Rodgers might have had to search for his options a little more, but the result was a more versatile offense, a group that is ready to take risks and make plays in ways we haven't fully appreciated yet. Arthur Smith made some excellent points recently about how getting DK back is more than just adding talent. It's a spar for the team. The Steelers aren't just relying on a superstar. This is a collection of fighters, guys who embrace their roles and battle through each snap. 9 different players caught passes in that one game, and each of them walked away with something to build on, whether confidence, experience, or a sense of belonging in the scheme. That type of distribution is exactly what a team like Pittsburgh needs, because when you get DK Metcalf back, you are layering that firepower on a foundation that already knows how to compete. And speaking of Metcalf, it's not just about the physical side of returning after a couple of games off. Football players thrive on the mental reset as much as the body's recovery. He's an athlete who brings energy, determination, and a relentless competitive spirit. The reports and headlines may have exaggerated past incidents, but anyone who knows Metcalf knows he's a team-first player, someone who lifts his teammates, and someone who thrives when the spotlight is on him for the right reasons. Imagine him barreling down the field, making defenders hesitate with those long, powerful strides, forcing corners to make split-second decisions. It doesn't take a flood of catches for him to impact a game. Sometimes, 1 or 2 explosive plays are enough to open the entire field. The Steelers have demonstrated that even when defenses try to take one aspect away, the offense can still create opportunities. The deep throws to Calvin Austin earlier in the season, even if only partially successful, showed the commitment to maintaining a balanced threat. And when Metcalf is on the field, defenders have to respect his speed and presence, which naturally opens lanes for others, whether it's the running game, other wide receivers, or creative plays in the backfield. That type of dynamic makes the Steelers' offense unpredictable. And unpredictability is a key tool when facing elite defenses like Houston's. On the subject of offensive innovation, let's talk about Spencer Anderson and the tackle-eligible approach. This is an underrated component that could really shift momentum on key downs. Anderson has evolved into more than a supporting role. He's part of a strategic element that forces defenses to account for multiple possibilities at once. By threatening to use him as a legitimate receiving option, the Steelers force opponents to spread their focus, creating opportunities elsewhere. It might seem like a minor tactical note, but in tight matchups, every edge counts. Paired with the adaptability of the offensive line and the mobility of running backs like Jaylen Warren and Kenny Gainwell, it becomes a weapon that can subtly but decisively influence the outcome of a game. The philosophy here is about more than individual talent. It's about the collective strength and mental toughness of the Steelers. We've seen it in practice, we've seen it in games. A group that refuses to be intimidated, that can absorb pressure, adjust, and keep executing plays under the toughest conditions. This is the kind of mentality that transforms promising talent into championship-level performance. With Metcalf back, the offensive strategy is no longer constrained by missing pieces, and the team can explore plays that stretch the defense vertically and horizontally. Houston's top-ranked defensive line will have their hands full, especially if Pittsburgh can establish a rhythm early with power runs up the middle, creating lanes that punish aggressive pass rushers while keeping options open for big plays downfield. And it isn't just about brute force. The Steelers' approach is calculated and versatile. Spence and Hayward bring a mix of skill and physicality that enhances both the blocking schemes and the surprise passing game. When executed properly, these elements allow Pittsburgh to dictate terms, to force defenders to play reactively instead of proactively. It's a subtle shift in leverage that can make all the difference in a matchup where defenses are traditionally dominant. By integrating creative options with Metcalf's presence, the team gains both a psychological and tactical advantage. What makes this even more compelling is how the offense has embraced risk and creativity while still holding a disciplined structure. The Steelers are showing that they can challenge top-tier defenses with smart aggression rather than relying solely on brute talent. Deep shots, tackle-eligible plays, and well-timed runs combine to form a multi-layered threat that opponents can't simply neutralize by focusing on one player. Every decision, every snap, every adjustment creates a ripple effect that can alter the course of a game, and that is exactly the type of approach needed to face Houston's relentless defensive pressure. It's about dictating pace, leveraging versatility, and exploiting any hesitation that arises when defenders are forced to cover multiple possibilities. And it all starts with confidence. The team has built momentum through small victories, from distributed targets to responsive in-game adjustments. Each player stepping up reinforces the belief that Pittsburgh can execute in challenging circumstances. Metcalf's return adds another layer of confidence. He brings a presence that changes how defenders approach each snap, making the Steelers' offensive rhythm more fluid and more dangerous. For fans watching closely, this isn't just a return of a star. It's a revival of a complete, adaptable, and resilient offensive machine ready to take on one of the league's best defenses head-on. Now, let's break down what makes this Steelers offense particularly fascinating heading into these crucial matchups. Beyond the obvious return of Metcalf, the team's strength lies in the ability to mix power and precision. Running backs like Jaylen Warren and Kenny Gainwell aren't just participants. They're catalysts in the offense, capable of exploiting tiny gaps, stretching the field, and keeping defenders on their heels. When combined with a line that can adapt mid-play and a quarterback who can make split-second decisions, it creates a constant layer of unpredictability. Opposing defenses can't simply game plan for one facet of the team. They have to account for multiple threats that are equally capable of changing the flow of the game in a single play. What's really compelling is how the Steelers have managed to turn challenges into opportunities. The absence of key players earlier in the season could have been a significant setback, but forced the team to rely on depth and develop a resilience that will pay off in high-pressure situations. Confidence grows when players succeed in unexpected roles, and that confidence becomes infectious. Each wide receiver, tight end, and running back who saw action during those weeks has had a chance to prove themselves. The result is an offense that can rotate personnel effectively, keeping starters fresh while maintaining pressure on the opposition. That depth isn't just convenient. It's a tactical weapon that can make or break tight contests. Let's revisit the concept of Metcalf's impact. It's not necessarily about volume stats or gaudy numbers. It's about presence and leverage. Defenders know he's a threat on every snap, and that changes how they approach the game. The mere possibility of him breaking free on a deep route forces corners to maintain closer coverage. Safety help to remain wary, and linebackers to hesitate for even a fraction of a second. Those microseconds are all the advantage the Steelers need to manipulate coverage, create openings for others, or execute surprise runs up the middle. Metcalf doesn't need to dominate every play to be game-changing. His influence is systemic, affecting the rhythm and decisions of the entire opposing defense. And while we're talking about strategy, the offensive line deserves serious recognition. Spence, in particular, is evolving into a versatile weapon, bridging the gap between standard tackle duties and strategic surprises like tackle-eligible plays. This isn't just about deception, it's about tactical stress. If defenders spend even a few moments trying to anticipate whether Spence will be a blocker or a target, they're losing precious focus elsewhere. Add in options like Connor Hayward stepping in as a fullback, and suddenly Pittsburgh has multiple axes of attack. Each alignment, each pre-snap adjustment, becomes an opportunity to test the reaction speed and discipline of the defense. Running up the middle has become a cornerstone of the Steelers' offensive philosophy, especially against teams with high-powered pass rushes. Establishing a strong inside game forces defenders to make tough decisions. Commit to stopping the run and risk opening the outside, or respect the passing game and leave space for explosive runs. By maintaining this balance, Pittsburgh isn't just moving the ball, they're dictating the pace and forcing opponents to respond rather than control the game. That mental leverage is crucial when facing teams with elite pass rushers like Daniel Hunter and Will Anderson. If the offensive line can neutralize that pressure, even momentarily, it allows the quarterback and skill players to execute with confidence and precision. Another key component is the calculated aggression in play calling. The Steelers have demonstrated a willingness to challenge defenses directly, whether it's deep shots downfield, creative tackle-eligible plays, or misdirection runs that exploit defensive overcommitment. That willingness to take risks, backed by preparation and depth, is what separates a good offense from a truly formidable one. Opponents can't sit back and expect the Steelers to stick to predictable patterns. Every snap carries the potential for an unexpected twist. This is especially important when facing top-ranked defenses, as hesitation or overreaction can shift momentum in Pittsburgh's favor. The mental game is just as important as the physical execution. Confidence, composure, and awareness are critical, and the Steelers have fostered a culture where players rise to the occasion. By spreading the ball across multiple receivers and targets, the offense has cultivated trust and self-assurance across the roster. Each player knows their role, but also understands they have the freedom to make plays. When Metcalf returns to that mix, he doesn't overshadow teammates, he elevates them. The defense must account for him, which creates opportunities for others to shine. That cascading effect of pressure and opportunity is what makes this offense particularly exciting. And speaking of excitement, let's not underestimate the psychological edge of momentum. Pittsburgh has shown an ability to capitalize on small victories, whether it's a successful conversion, a timely block, or a big run that shifts field position. Each of these moments reinforces confidence and places the opposition on alert. Momentum isn't just hype, it's a tangible advantage. When a team can sustain energy, maintain aggressive execution, and adapt mid-game, they force the opponent to play reactionary football rather than proactive strategies. That's the kind of mental dominance that becomes apparent when games are close, and the Steelers have proven they can thrive in that environment. The dynamic between the running and passing game is also worth highlighting. By keeping the defense guessing, Pittsburgh has created a balance that is difficult to defend. Running backs force attention on the ground, which opens windows for receivers. Receivers like Calvin Austin and tight ends have shown they can exploit those windows effectively. The presence of Metcalf only enhances this, as defenders are pulled between threats and must choose between two highly dangerous options. That layered attack is exactly what's needed when facing a disciplined and aggressive defense. It's not just about who touches the ball. It's about creating situations where multiple players are simultaneously threats, forcing defenders to compromise their assignments. And let's circle back to the idea of risk management. The Steelers aren't reckless, but they embrace calculated aggression. Every decision is informed by preparation, film study, and an understanding of opponent tendencies. When they commit to a deep throw, a tackle-eligible play, or a run up the middle, it's part of a broader strategy that considers both probability and impact. That combination of tactical awareness, player skill, and mental fortitude creates a formidable offense, capable of adapting on the fly and exploiting any weakness that arises. In essence, Pittsburgh isn't just executing plays. They're controlling the game's tempo, dictating matchups, and forcing opponents into uncomfortable decisions. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The sports world is buzzing with shock and disbelief as rumors swirl about a major player potentially leaving the Pittsburgh Steelers. Sources close to the team suggest that negotiations might be underway, though nothing has been officially confirmed. Across the United States, fans are reacting with a mix of anger, sadness, and sheer disbelief, with social media exploding as supporters try to make sense of what could be one of the most unexpected moves in recent NFL history. The player in question has been a cornerstone of the Steelers roster for years, earning accolades, cementing leadership on and off the field, and becoming a fan favorite. To imagine the team without him is almost inconceivable for those who have followed Pittsburgh football through thick and thin. Analysts are already speculating about the ripple effects this could have on the team's dynamics, strategy, and morale. Some insiders suggest that a departure could open the door for new talent, while others warn it might leave a gaping hole that no single player could fill. Fans are not taking this lightly. Across forums, Twitter threads, and fan groups, passionate debates are unfolding. Some insist the team must do everything possible to retain him, citing his critical role in pivotal games and his influence in the locker room. Others are bracing for what they fear is inevitable, preparing for a future where the Steelers must redefine their identity without one of their most iconic figures. Meanwhile, the league itself is paying close attention. Other teams might see this as an opportunity, and speculation is rampant about potential trades or signings that could shift the balance of power. Sports talk shows are dedicating hours to dissecting every rumor, every possible scenario, and every subtle hint from team insiders. Some pundits are even drawing comparisons to historic NFL moves that shocked the country, suggesting that if this transfer happens, it could be remembered as a defining moment in the sport. As the story develops, one thing is certain. The nation's love for football ensures that this rumor alone is enough to create waves far beyond Pittsburgh. Whether this move comes to fruition or not, the emotional impact on fans and the sports world is undeniable. Speculation, anxiety, and anticipation have taken center stage, leaving the entire NFL community on edge, waiting for confirmation of what could be a monumental shift in American football. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.